Hi, and welcome to the latest trending tech podcast brought to you by IoT Now, Vanilla Plus, and The Evolving Enterprise. I'm Jeremy Cowan, and it's great to have you here for the latest, well, sometimes serious, sometimes light-hearted look at digital transformation for enterprises. Now, if you've attended a live IoT conference in Europe in the last few years, I mean, back when live events were still a thing, today's first guest is probably no stranger to you. Magnus Melander speaks with authority on many aspects of IoT, but always with a particular understanding of what's happening in his native Sweden and across Scandinavia. Since 2014, he's been running his Swedish IoT Alliance, SMSE, and the deep tech hub called Things, which he co-founded. Magnus advises small and large organizations, and he's held senior positions in general management, sales, marketing, public, analyst and developer relations, service and support, business development, and venture capital. I could probably add to that. So over the years, I've had the pleasure of introducing him on stage in several countries, and he brings energy to everything he speaks on. Today, that topic is smart cities. Magnus, it's great to have you here.
Oh, thank you, Jeremy. It's great to be back again. Almost seeing you live.
And the last time we spoke, I think you were in the sunny south of France, which just made me re-examine my life choices. Where are you today?
I'm in sunny Caen in France.
How very nice. Now, I'm also delighted to welcome our next speaker, Francesca Serravalle, who is Director of Emerging Technologies at London-based Colt Technology Services. Colt provides network and voice connectivity to businesses in Europe, Asia, and the US. Francesca has more than 15 years telecoms experience in portfolio strategy, marketing, product management, and business development. And she's currently responsible for bringing end-to-end multi-partner plans to market, monetizing telco cloud solutions and delivering the digital agenda of city authorities. I guess that's smart cities. Do you see what we did there? It's almost like we planned this. Francesca, a very warm welcome to you too.
Thank you. Thanks for the introduction. I'm very happy to be here. Thanks.
Great to have you. And today we find you somewhere in Italy, I think.
Yes, south of Italy, 40 degrees. I'm just boiling hot.
How wonderful. Okay, so the podcast has the same format as usual. We'll start with a quick analysis of some key news stories our guests have brought us. Then I want to talk to both of them about all aspects of smart cities, including technology, business, and the user experience. And when all of that's covered in What the Tech, we'll take a sideways look at some of the stories that made us raise an eyebrow. Great. Let's start with the headlines. Magnus, I'm going to come to you first. I think you have a smart city solution to share with us. What can you tell us?
Yeah, but thinking about what to bring with me today, it was special. And there's this fantastic little company in Sweden, very international. They have 12 or 13 nationalities in the team. Started 2015, and they are there to bring the autonomous society forward. That's what they do. Now, they do 3D computer vision solutions, and they've been involved in very sophisticated autonomous cars projects and so forth. But they took all the technology and they put it into a normal smartphone, and they went to a city in Stockholm, actually, and they showed them that just by putting those phones in taxis or trash cars or whatever and have them run around, they can read with their eyes, so to speak, exactly what's going on. They can track traffic signs, traffic patterns, potholes, everything. They just map out the whole city, automatically. And they utilize the simple technology of an old smartphone. Actually, it don't even have to be a new one. They can find somebody in the office in the drawers or something. So I love that thing. And now they have done that for several cities, and they expanded this in many countries and so forth. It's a wonderful little application.
I love the recycling aspect of that. That's a really interesting angle.
Yeah, and what's the chicken and the egg? I don't know. But when you look at it now, it's a great pitch, actually. They say that when they go to cities, they have a lot of old smartphones in the drawers. So maybe that's a bigger thing. There's a lot of money behind this. I mean, the potholes themselves, they kill cars for amazing amount of money. One thing that I never thought about was traffic signs. People don't really know if they're removed or not. That could be very dangerous. So by scanning these continuously in real time, they can immediately see if something is missing, has fallen down, or if there is a bush in front of one of them and so forth. So it is a very handy tool for a city planner or city operator.
And how widely is this in use? You mentioned that it's gone to other cities now. Yeah,
they as I remember, they have 5 or 6 cities going. They also work with the traffic authorities in Sweden.
Is it all Swedish cities, or is it going abroad now?
No, they are abroad already.
Yeah.
And that's because the team is completely international.
And what kind of competition is there for universities?
Well, I really don't know. I haven't seen anything. I know about specific projects that have been following cars and utilize, and there are other projects that have been utilizing cars that already are there. But it's all more about route planning and those kind of things. So I haven't seen this. Because this is edge computing in a smartphone, which is insanely complicated and complex. So I think it's very hard to find somebody doing similar things.
If people want to find out more about this, where can they go for more details?
Oh, yeah, their website. It's called Universes with UNIVRSES.com.
Okay, thank you.
If they don't find it, they can call you and you can call me.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we're here for. Thanks, Magnus. Francesca, which tech story have you noticed recently?
Yes, I would like to talk about some recent announcements of MNOs announcing their launch of 5G standalone deployment. And the reason why I think it's an important point to mention is because only through a standalone 5G we can enable innovative 5G use case for both smart city and smart enterprise. So as you know, most of them have started their 5G launch with a non-standalone solution where you have a 5G RAN attached on a 4G core, mainly to really launch some eMBMB enhanced mobile broadband services. But they know that to enable innovative IoT services, a 5G core is essential. And why is that? It's because we need the concept of network slicing, where we rely on virtualization to create an end-to-end logic and virtual network which span the RAN, the transport, and the core domain. 5G core introduce programmability so that an enterprise can set some policies and rules to have their own network slice according to their SLAs and to their IoT services. It introduced intelligent operation where we can rely on telemetry and AI to enable a pure self-organized network. 5G core is pure cloud native and it enables all the distributed architecture, which is key to really span on the flexible deployment depending on the specific SLA. And I think this is important because, otherwise, they're going to miss the train for addressing the needs of the enterprise. Obviously, the enterprise now, they have alternatives, and the alternative is 5G private networks. They can buy their own spectrum thanks to innovative spectrum policies, and they can really choose some cloud-native 5G RAN, 5G core, and create their own software stack, 5G software stack based on some specific deployment challenge. And Colt is working with 5G private networks vendors very closely because our network is very intelligent, it's very edge-centric. So we can use our edge proposition, both customer network edge, to host 5G private network and to really become an enabler of digital transformation for enterprise. We already have a few incubation activity where we co-innovate with our customer and our partners to enable, for example, smart building and smart office of the future.
So that incubation phase, is that something that you can describe in any more detail? I guess these must be commercially sensitive a little bit, but what sort of stage are you at, and how long will this incubation phase last?
I think when it comes to 5G for enterprise, we have to realize a few things. I just want to explain why we needed incubation. We have to realize that most of the case for the enterprise, they still don't know the business case. They understand the capability of 5G, but the business case is not clear. Most of the use case involves a broad partner ecosystem, both from technology-wise, as well as from but as well as from GTM. And that's because any end-to-end digital services span all the ICT infrastructure. So you have the ICT, the connectivity, the platform, the application. So we need to work with a broader partner ecosystem, and then through incubation enable technical, operational, and business synergy. So far, we have deployed the 5G private network on our customer premises. So it's fully integrated and supported on our edge. And so we have finalized the technical synergy and the technical details. We need to go one step further to prove the business case of the specific use case, but also in order to scale, operational synergy are also very important.
It's interesting to hear you mention the learning process for the MNOs. I saw yesterday that there's a new report from ABI Research saying traditional telcos are restructuring their enterprise operations and creating whole new business units to deliver tailor-made private 5G networks for industries and for enterprises. Carriers that they mentioned included AT&T, Telefonica, Verizon, Vodafone, but we're also seeing vendors like Ericsson and Nokia reorganizing. Do you see that trend accelerating?
Yes, I do. I mean, if you think most of the telcos started their transformation process years back. So at Colt, we started our multi-year transformation in 2016, where we have digitalized our network through SDN and NAV. Then we have transformed our operation through automation and AI. We have transformed our service infrastructure through marketplace to clarify the experience so that enterprise can consume connectivity and network services on demand through a portal. So next is transforming the business model, as you were mentioned. And for that, you need edge, 5G, intelligent connectivity, and working with a broader partner ecosystem. And we can see, that there is a lot of momentum across the industry through innovative partner program and incubation activity.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate the operator view on that. It's very interesting to see how this is going. I want to talk now a little bit more about the detail of smart cities, because if there's one aspect of IoT that really gets headlines in the mainstream media, it's probably smart cities, maybe connected cars, but smart cities is one of them. Yet a startling percentage of the public still don't seem to know what they are, and that's one problem. And at IoT Now, we're often hearing about exciting new smart city plans, but if I'm honest, we don't always get the answer to the question, how do you make solutions that are valuable to users and profitable to providers? So I expect we'll come to that. Francesca, if the IoT sector and everyone else associated with smart cities are going to win the public over, we're going to need some quick wins to prove the value of smart cities to the public. What do you think those quick win solutions might be?
Yeah, I think, first of all, we're seeing so many use cases. IoT has been deployed at some massive scales to really create a digital twin of the cities. And we are sensing everything now. We're sensing the energy, the air quality, the light, the crowd, the people movement, car movement. We are sensing everything, but in order to make sense of this data, then this is where the value of the smart city platform comes in, that it can ingest all of those IoT data and make sense, extrapolating intelligence and then delivering social value to the public through some specific use case. Now, there are many use cases that can plug into the smart city platform. When in the past I have worked with some city authorities, and the use cases that were being tested were smart building, because there was a strong focus on making those buildings. As you know, most of the city authorities, they also own many buildings across the cities, and they want to make it more efficient in line with their green agenda as well. So this was one key use case, enabling us sustainable and green building. And then, of course, smart car parking is the other one, making the experience of a driver more smoother. As well as when it comes to smart mobility, what I have seen, the main use case that has been delivered so far, it's quite a simple one where you could basically overlay different GIS layer, which include, for example, the traffic flow. You can create some traffic template, and then based on that, optimize the parameters of traffic light, again, to make the experience of a driver smoother and reduce the commute of the driver. I think another important use case that we're going to see is public safety. Video analytics is one of the key technology that I think it will skyrocket in the next few years. And Blue Agency are leveraging the video analytics, for example, to do face recognition for crime detection, object recognition, crowd management as well. And another important aspect is to the Blue Light Agency, they're trying to use a smart city platform to enable better collaboration across, for example, the police, the ambulance, and other blue light agencies to really enable a more integrated event management and respond better, saving more life. So I think that sometimes, because we're not talking about business KPI, but we're talking about enhancing the quality of life, there are two things. It's very difficult to show the value prop of a smart city platform, both to the public, but also to the city authorities as well, because they may expect that they deploy a smart city platform, and then they might need less people in their operation center to do things.
Yeah.
The main KPI is not economic KPI. It's not operational efficiency. It's better quality of life. So it may actually cost you more at the beginning until you start to plug in more use case. And the more use case you plug in, the more efficiency you see, the more quality of life you deliver to the public.
Magnus, could I come to you? Because Francesca has rightly pointed out the integration of these things. This was something that's been really concerning me. In the past, when I've scratched the surface of many so-called smart city developments, they actually turned out to be point solutions. They weren't multiple integrated applications. They might have been heading in that direction, but they hadn't got there. Is this changing now, do you think?
That's a very good question, Jeremy. I hope it's changing, let's put it that way, but I'm not sure, because I really think that the question whether citizens like smart cities or not is not really relevant, because in my experience, people, whatever you look at, healthcare or whatever, I mean, they want to be well taken care of when they get sick. They don't want to stay in long lines. They don't want things to be too expensive. I mean, those are the things that really people care about. And the same for a city. They want the city to be safe. They want the city to be easy to travel in. They want to, not pay too high fees on parking or whatever. All those things are what people are concerned about. They are not concerned about how we achieve that. But the only way to achieve that in a city is by, like Francesca said, to build a good platform, a scalable platform, just to have data and communication in between different subsystems and all those kind of things that are really boring and hard to explain to people. But the same goes for hospitals. Now there is a new cure for this little disease. It costs 50 billion to bring to the table. But, I don't care really, because I just want to be a good healthcare. I think the core values of IoT that I once agreed with myself on still are the good starting point. It brings safety and security. It brings sustainability, and it brings efficiency. Those are the three things that matters. Whatever you do, if it's industries or infrastructures or cities or homes, it's always the same. And if you do well, if you implement well on those, users or citizens or whoever we talk about, they will see a difference, hopefully.
Yeah.
I think we're very far away down the road there, actually. We are far away. There's a lot of good systems coming along in cities and so forth.
That's encouraging. Francesca, coming back to you, I mean, from an outsider's viewpoint, my first question is, who in most cases is the primary customer? Is it central government? Is it regional, city authorities? Is it the utilities sometimes, or an aggregation of enterprises? Who in most cases do you think is the primary customer for the smart cities?
From a service provider point of view, and I'm talking according to my past experience, those are city authorities. They normally have their own operation center. And this is the first use case that they normally deliver through a smart city platform. And that's why then becomes more an operational efficient story rather than enabling more, safety and security. But yes, those are city authorities, and in some case, their own operational center.
Thank you. And Magnus, looking at the aspects of the work of those authorities, what, in your experience, are the most common problems that are being faced in delivering these smart city platforms and smart city combined solutions?
Well, I really think, unfortunately, it's a very boring answer. I think it's always cost.
Oh, dear.
Pick a smart lamp post. That was a big thing 10 years ago, and there was fantastic solutions for it, and everybody wanted it, and it was obviously a good thing for society with less energy consumption and all of that, and smart lamps that were only on when you're there, and all those kind of things. But when you talk to cities about it, they say, who going to pay for this? This is a huge thing to change all the lamp posts in a city. So I think money and on top of that, obviously, like all big changes, people and processes are always the two big problems. It means education, knowledge, taking risks, all those kind of things are in the way of progress.
Yeah.
In a company or organization.
Francesca, do you have anything to add to what Magnus says about the still worryingly high prevalence of cost problems?
No, I think it's spot on. I agree. One thing that I want to add is about the question you asked me before. Yes, it's city authorities, and that's why we are going to see smaller cities struggling more on enabling the business case of a smart city platform. And what is going to happen that either, you have bigger cities that they're going then to enable also smart city as a services business model, offering their platform, the usage of their platform to neighboring the smaller city. Or we're going to see also some service providers willing to really enable a smart city as a services for smaller city.
Mm. Magnus, we obviously have to have regulations in place to make this all work. Do you think that in most cases the regulations are starting to be in place, or are we still a long way off having those ready?
Well, I guess that differs a lot. Even within countries, it differs a lot what kind of if the regulations are enough. I think the other issue that normally people don't talk about when we talk about smart cities is there are probably hundreds of thousands of cities that are really small. Like Francesca said, they have a completely different situation, but we have to have them fixed as well. So it's not just Tokyo or Los Angeles or London that we have to sort out. You have to sort out those called small places where they have to have clean water and good energy, and all of things has to work there as well. Yeah, it's a tough question to try to see this as a market, because I think it's really different. And also it depends on where they start from. What's the starting point? I mean, when I do work with manufacturing companies, large corporates, and they get into technology and what they can do, and they find something of interest to test, they in many cases figure out immediately that they don't have the backend ready to take care of the outcome of that solution. So imagine how a small city, let's say in England, or Italy, how ready are they to take care of all the data that we create from all smart devices and things that we put out there?
Yeah.
I think it's very complicated, actually.
And is that your experience as well, Francesca? I mean, this must be a nightmarishly difficult thing for a small city.
Yes, totally. Very difficult. I mean, it's already the business case is hard for bigger city. Can you imagine for smaller city? They're going to rely, on some innovative business model that other city authorities or service provider will come up.
And what sort of time frame do you think we are talking about then for this to filter beyond the big cities to smaller cities so that more people see this as a reality in their life? Francesca first, what do you think is the time frame we should be expecting for that to reach smaller cities?
I think it really depends on country as well, because, for example, if I remember correct, Spain, it was a different story because they received lots of money from you to try and improve the technical feasibility of some smart city use case. So you had bigger city as well as a smaller city or Lisbon or others really not needing to worry about the business case because they got some funding from you, from some innovation program. The experience that I had here in UK was different because they started with the business case, but the business case wouldn't work because we were really working on few use case plugged in a smart city platform, which is supposed to work as a brain for the entire city.
Yeah.
So I think I have to say it really depends. It depends on the country.
Magnus, is there anything you'd add on that?
Yeah, as you probably know, Jeremy, I prefer to talk about good cities. And the whole idea of digging where you stand in whatever you do, I like that approach a lot. If you are a small city, you have to start with that. So with the budgets you have, the issues we have, but you also have smaller volumes of things. So in many cases, solutions could be different and actually much faster and cheaper. I can tell you, we have a summer house in the middle of nowhere in Sweden. There's a tiny, tiny little city. They now have smart waste containers. Things can come and take it away, empty it. There's an IoT solution. That would never happen in Stockholm, and it will never work in Stockholm, I guess. No. So I think there is a solution for small. So you have to dig where you stand and use the resources you have, and then it will probably be good. Nationally, we just have to ensure that we have a decent kind of standard across when it comes to, water, clean water, fire, police, those kind of things have to be taken care of nationwide, so maybe in EU and so forth. But the other things, the things that consumer more will be presented to, can probably be done in other ways and maybe even better in smaller.
Yeah. Well, I love that. I've learned a lot from this chat here, and not least of all, the phrase, dig where you stand. I think that's a very appropriate way of approaching it. Okay, we've reached the lighter section of the podcast called What the Tech, where we share something tech-based that either made us smile or just made us mad. Magnus, what's amazed or amused you?
Well, I actually smiled a lot. I ran over just the other day an article which relates to a Swedish startup called Heart Aerospace. They are just 2 years old, and they develop an electrical regional aircraft. And they just got an order of 200 aircraft from United Airlines and Mirza, which is just unbelievable. They believe they can have it operational 2026. So
that's incredible.
That really amazes me and makes me happy. On top of that, it's interesting because, as far as I know, these aircrafts that we're going to have pretty soon, or first among the electrical ones, they will also use airports which are closer to the cities. So that will probably change the whole development where we put airports outside of the cities. Because with small, short distances, we want them to be in the cities, and they have, they don't, sound is not very high, and they don't pollute a lot, and so forth. So I think that's a very, very positive news. And Bill Gates invested in his in this company as well, which is it's a good start,
Yeah. That's something of an indicator. Yeah. Really interesting, and it integrates nicely with the sort of the smarter cities approach that we've all been talking about. Francesca, what's amused you or amazed you?
Yes, I was reading an article about the Olympics in Tokyo, and it made me smile how we have also digitized the sport. And players nowadays in Tokyo, they are wearing all sorts of smart things, a smart watch, a smart T-shirt, and so many data are gathered from them. And whether to really have a glimpse of their performance, which a coach could, for example, use it to plan future training, or maybe it can be used from judge to make a call on a ball on the line, for example. And it's not only the players, but even the spectators. Now they can access a 12K video with multi-point coverage. They can have a better experience, an augmented experience where they can overlay some digital information in real time from the real scene. And even more, I think, the place and the event, the Olympics, has made it safer through the use of face recognition. And that was important because the event is not fully centralized, but it's scattered in many locations. So using face recognition not only for making the place safer, but also for access control, it's very important. That made me smile.
I love that.
I have a comment on that. When I read your article, Francesca, I came to think of that sports has actually taken over the role of space. Because in the past, when I grew up, we got all new technologies in space, from space projects, and then we brought a lot of it into our normal lives. And this is now what happens with sports.
It's fascinating.
Exactly.
I read about the TrackMan application, the solution, with interest. And I gather it's also used in golf practice to measure ball rotation for non-professional golfers like me. I mentioned this to my son, who unfortunately, he beats me every time I play, and he reckons it's going to take a lot more than TrackMan to iron out my thoughts. But hey, I'm always hopeful. Anyway.
Great.
I think we need to look up on that. And certainly the Olympics has shown this to have a real value. Time's up. I can't thank you enough. Let me finish by saying a really big thanks first to Colt's Francesca Serravalle for all your expertise.
Oh, thanks to you, Jeremy. Very happy. It was a very insightful discussion. Loved.
It's been interesting and fun. It's been great to have you here. How can people find you to learn more about what you've told us?
Oh, LinkedIn is fine. I normally check LinkedIn messages. So,
It's a good way. And special thanks to Magnus Melander of Things. It's been great to catch up with you, Magnus.
It has been spectacular, Jeremy. It's actually one of the better moments in my Kind's Day this time. So I enjoyed this a lot, and let's hope we see soon again, in real life, preferably.
I look forward to it, and we won't have to just bump elbows. So how can our listeners reach you, Magnus, if they want to find out more about what you're doing?
LinkedIn is the easiest way, of course.
Good. Well, thank you too, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us around the world. You can subscribe to the Trending Tech podcast wherever you found us. And at the risk of sounding like a stuck vinyl, go on, be a hero, give us a 5-star rating. Tell everyone how much you've enjoyed it, because it's making a massive difference to our ranking when people look for a new podcast. Until next time, keep safe, keep checking IoT-now.com, the EE.ai, and vanillaplus.com, where you'll find Smart City and other news and interviews. And join us again soon for another Trending Tech podcast looking at enterprise digital transformation. Bye for now.